Hello everybody. Now we will take it a little bit more into the application stack. I'm Thomas. I will talk about LocomotiveCMS and how we're using it at local, and then also give you a short demonstration. First, LocomotiveCMS is an open source CMS built in Ruby on Rails with MongoDB as a database. I'll show quickly where we're using it. Give you a picture. We've just adopted it earlier this year, and we've now already deployed it to a lot of different instances. We use it to do simple presentation pages like this, which is just simple HTML. Another example is this one here. But then we also use it via the API it provides, where we use it to be part of a page that is generated in the app, but also has some editorial content. And this way it's used via API as a JSON data source. This page as well. And then for the newest, biggest project, we're also using it right on our homepage to provide the background images, which are managed by an editor in our company. So I quickly want to touch on Locomotive. It's a project that has lived for quite a while, but it has been completely rebuilt a year ago and been released as a first stable version early this year. You can see on GitHub it has quite a following. It has a bit of a fork, it has forks, it has contributors. However, the main development happens at a company in France, which recently moved from Paris to the south of France, which is a little bit outdated there. I'll want to quickly touch on the features of the CMS. It has general CMS features you'd expect, but I highlighted the ones that I think are really important for engineers. It has a command line interface. It has a REST API. It has a backend, back office UI for content editors, and it has liquid templates. You might know liquid templates from Shopify, which use it to create all kinds of customized stores. You can read more about it in the details what it offers. So that's the short introduction to the CMS. Now I will proceed with the demo. So, because I really believe this is CMS is maybe a problem that most engineers don't like that much. It can be quite a pain and annoying to manage. What I really like about LocomotiveCMS is that it offers a command line interface. So I will also start this talk on the command line. So the precondition to use Locomotive is that you have a working copy of Ruby on your machine, preferably 1.93 or newer. So first up, let's install a Locomotive utility. Actually, I need to define a version in this case, because we still have a little bit of an older version running in our server. By the way, can you read this? Okay, so what I will do, I will create a new project. This will initiate a new project and create the base structure of it. Obviously it's using Ruby, so we will boot up. It will take a little while. We will load active support, if you know. Yes. All right, so there we go. Next up, we'll change the directory and we'll run bundle. We'll resolve the dependencies. Will take a while again. Going over the network. So the really cool thing is now I started a project and it created a small file structure to represent that. Which is sort of similar to the file structure for Ruby on Rails application. What's nice about this, because it's a project, I would like to have source tracking, so I'll initiate a new repository. Cool. So I got that. Then in Locomotive, you have content types. So you can create your own model that represents your data. So to start, I want to create a content type for Web Tuesday. So I want to represent the people. So maybe my goal with this demonstration is I will create a small instance of the CMS that has all the people that visit Web Tuesday in it. And once it has all of them in it, then maybe we'll, you have a base to start to put more editorial content towards it. So you get some people in there and then you can start to enrich the content and maybe write a journalistic story about Web Tuesday that's actually based on data. So let's go ahead and do this. First up, I will use a wagon generator. So I'll quickly let it print out the instruction to generate a content type. So here you see, you basically can define a content type by the name and the fields. So here I want the content type people. People have a name, which is a string, description, text, a handle, which I mean Twitter handle, string. Because remember, tech have this link to Twitter, so that's a practical source to tap into. Maybe a nice image. You can recognize them fast. Maybe they have a tweet count. Amount of followers. And I also want to know how many Web Tuesdays they've visited. Because I mean that matters a lot to find out if somebody's a real follower of Web Tuesday and if it's really worthy of mentioning in your journalistic piece. So there you go. As you can see, it created 2 new files. Let me quickly show you those files. So here you see the first one. It's a definition file of the content type that I just created. It has some basic attributes. And the nice thing is this generator always also includes a lot of comments that explain you what all those things are. And then it obviously has the definition for the fields. Additionally to that, we created a file with some sample data. Created a file with some sample data. Just so you see, there's also a data file towards the content type where you can fill in stuff. Which is all YAML, which is sort of nice to read. I think most of you are probably familiar with that. So now I want to deploy this CMS project I have to an instance of the CMS. So first up, what I will need to do is add a deployment path. This will now be deployed to the nice Docker instance that Eddie set up before. And because I'm not that good at remembering API keys by heart, I'll quickly go and copy that. I also have prepared some backup environments, by the way. So let's hope for the best. So now that I've configured the environment called Docker with the host, of the machine and the API key that I'm authorized to access it, I will push this to the CMS. This is also done via the wagon utility. So I simply do a B wagon push Docker. There you go. So now the big question will be, will it all work? Voila. So I'm already signed in. If you don't believe it, it now created this people content type that we've defined beforehand, as defined before. So maybe I can quickly show you that I'm not faking this. I can remove this model again and push it back to the CMS, and there it is. So I truly have control over my content types that I defined, and I have them represented on the file system where I can track them. So next up, I want to import some data. So to do this, I will get some magic I preferred beforehand. Sorry. Some secrets, some gem files. Rake file. When I import data, I always like to write the make file, or Rake in this case for Ruby. It makes sure that the stuff what I'm doing is really reproducible and trackable. So let me quickly show you the Rake file I have here. So this is a small Ruby script I wrote to fetch all of the Web Tuesday events from TechHub, and then also fetch the attendees of those events, so load the detail page and fetch attendees. Get that data, extract it, go to Twitter, get some additional information, and then dump it into the data file.
Is it JSON API?
I have to say I like your markup a lot. It was easy, like really simple, really clean. But I haven't looked at the API.
It's not documented in the defense.
Okay, it's good. But come on, it's so simple with Nakagiri. You can just do it. It's an XML API. So I quickly download those 24 pages from your server. Over a VPN, so it's a little bit slow. I found that 299 people who attend a Web Tuesday when they fetch some data from Twitter. I can show you, switch back here. Now our nice people file has Yordi in it, and it has all the data from Yordi. So now I would like to I would like to push that data to the CMS as well, to the instance of the CMS. So basically when you push normally, you only push the structure. But you can also push your data if you have it. In this case, I will quickly push them all into the system. It does actually HTTP post for every single item, so it has some scalability improvements in the future, but for a smaller project, it definitely is quite cool. So while it's doing that, I can already go in the CMS, in the back office. There you see I got the list of people. So I haven't really given you an introduction to back office, but basically this is the Locomotive back office that we're now in. This is what usually the content editors would use to add data and manipulate it. It's built with Backbone.js. It's pretty good to use. I think most people are relatively happy. I think the only thing that's really bothering me is not responsive. But I've heard they're working on that. Next up, I quickly want to show you a little bit Liquid, which is the template language you have available. So let me quickly create a new page. Oh, I want to have a people page. And on that people page, I now want to iterate over those people that I have. Yes. Work better. What I do quickly here, let's just print the person's name. And maybe in brackets behind it, I would like to have the person's web Tuesday count. Quickly a BR behind it. I'll save that page. I'll show it, and I get a list of all the people with the count of Web Tuesdays that I have attended. So to lead over to the next talk, I actually want a small JSON feed for an external app to access that. So I've prepared a little page that will do that. Basically, it's also a liquid template, but now in this case, first of all, I want to switch it from HTML to a JSON response. And then all I'm doing here, I added JSONP support in a little bit of a hacky way. And I added the array of objects for the next presentation. So let me save that and reload the people page, and you will get back some nice JSON with all the information in it. That's it. And next up is Jonas presenting Angular.js.
Any questions? I wonder about like the JSON API hack. I mean, you said there was a REST API, so what?
Yes.
Why?
Yeah. So there is a REST API for it, where you can get all your objects you have in the CMS in a standard representation from the CMS. The interesting thing is we found some use cases where it was really useful to start, tweaking the JSON a little bit. And I kind of started to hack this in Liquid, which I arguably think is questionable.
Potentially, maybe.
But I also have to say, if you look at it, do you really want another DLR for just JSON generations, like JGoger? Yeah, maybe. Anyways, I'm not sure what to do about that. Explicitly, I have to tell you the small filter you saw there, which is type JSON. It's actually non-standard. That's a filter we put in. It's really small. I mean, it's 10 lines of code, but it is definitely not as solid as you might expect. But I have to say, past experience, it has worked. Maybe an interesting side note, the founder of Locomotive is coming to Zurich tomorrow and the day after. There's also a RevSec where he will talk about Locomotive tomorrow evening. And I'm also going to talk to him about maybe doing that culturally. Any other questions?